Welcome to the Non-Sequitur Show. Continual watching beyond this point may result in terminal face palming and a complete loss of wokeness. You have been warned.
Okay, welcome. I had a little technical difficulty. I know it's playing in the background somewhere, and I'm trying to find out where that's coming from because I can hear it myself. So give me 2 seconds here, and we'll figure that out because there's always some issues here. I had a huge problem with my computer, though, just a few minutes ago. My USB, for some reason, has lower voltage occasionally, and it... I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't enough for my focus, right? Oh, there we go. See, I can hear that in the background. It's playing in the background somewhere. And I'm trying where is this playing in the background? From because I can hear it myself. So give me 2 seconds here, and we'll figure that out. Because is that on my end or yours, Ed? I had a huge problem with my computer, though, just a few minutes ago. My USB, for some reason,
I see.
Occasionally,
I'm in the below, and you're at the up screen.
There you go. I just did that. That should finish that problem. All right. So yeah, technical difficulties all around. I did figure it out. I got my computer working again. I don't know what it is about the voltage on the USB port being so low. It just cannot handle for some reason my mic if it's not put on the right port. And I don't know. Anyways, though, yeah, you guys are in for a treat tonight. You guys wanted them back, so blame you guys. I ain't taking any of the responsibility for this. But I have brought back Edgar, Mr. AKA Intelligent Design, to go over his new and improved intelligent design. More, was it the powerful, correct scientific explanations, Edgar?
Wait, one more, please.
Is the powerful, correct scientific explanations?
Yes, the new intelligent design is powerful, correct, and scientific, and I think I can show it.
Now
I can prove.
This is the new and improved version, right? Because we've had you on before, and we talked about the older versions, and I've read this. I don't see what's new and improved on it. But then again, you already know it's unintelligible to me. I don't understand any of this. But hopefully you'll be able to explain to us as we go through, right?
Yeah, the reason why I think it's very hard for me because, it's very hard for me to explain in an organized way my discovery. So it's very difficult for me because I have written a books, but, I have to summarize it in a concise way in which... it's like a scientific article that anybody could read in a summarized form. So I think this one is
How many years have you been doing this, Edgar? How many years have you been trying to explain this to people? Because we've had you on. What was it? 4 years ago, 3 years ago, a couple times. And by the way, people know I get along with you personally just fine. I think you're a nice guy. I think you're completely out to lunch on this, and this is absolute incoherent drivel. But you're nice. But I'm just wondering, how long you been at this, trying to promote this again?
Okay, so I started promoting this in 2011.
2011,
After I discovered the intelligence to non-intelligence. Mm-hmm. And the first person I called is Kenneth Miller. Do you know him?
I know who Kenneth Miller is. I've corresponded with him once in the past.
Yeah. I called him from Japan, international phone. I told him, sir, I discovered intelligence. And he answered me. Maybe he forgot already. He answered me and said, can you send me? So I did not send to him, but because of my excitement, I called him in the international phone. On that time, he was teaching in his university. So I called him.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't send him this then?
I did not send
Okay.
because the reason why I cannot send him, because for me it's very hard to explain. I don't know how to summarize it.
Yeah,
But
no, I
now
don't doubt that. I don't doubt it's difficult to explain because it's difficult to understand. But I'm gonna try to be a little objective. I'm gonna try to be. It's not easy, guys. I mean, we don't have Red Eye with us this time. Red Eye actually went out and bought your. I'm gonna use the term books. Forgive me,
Okay.
but I'm gonna use. He read them. He hasn't been the same ever since, though, Edgar. The guy ain't right. I mean, I like Red Eye, I really do, but something broke in him. You literally snapped him or something because he has not been the same ever since.
Really?
Yeah,
No,
yeah, it took a lot out of him. Yeah, I think it did some physical and mental damage to the guy. He doesn't even sound like an Australian any longer. He talks with this weird kind of like British accent. It's freaky. But all right, so let's kind of go through this. So, okay, so you are the founder of the new intelligence design, which is comparative to the non-comparative, I guess, to the old intelligence design, the Behe type design, I guess, right?
Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Right.
I am the founder and discoverer and the endorser of the new intelligent design, and I have the reason why I use intelligent design. Maybe if you would like me to explain, and I can
Sure.
explain.
Yes, please. That's what we're here
Yeah.
for.
Okay. So on 2005, after the defeat of the old intelligent design in the Dover trial, I was, I was very confused because I really thought that the intelligent design movement, the old one, they could win in the legal battle. So they were defeated. So on that time, I thought to myself, why did they not win? So after that, I found out that Michael Behe and his group had never used the word intelligence in the battle, in the legal battle, in the science battle. He used irreducible complexity. This person, okay, this Michael Behe.
Yeah.
Yes, he used that.
I'm going to probably have. I'm probably going to have Casey Luskin on soon, and also maybe Myers, Stephen C. Myers.
Yeah,
I haven't reached out to Behe yet, but
please, after that, so I was very curious because is there really no intelligence in biology and in reality in the world? And I was very confused because why Michael Behe, for example, did not use intelligence in the intelligent design? Supposed to be he will be using intelligence. Why he used irreducible complexity? Why he used complex?
But isn't his argument that he's trying to show that things have come about with no precursors, that it was only the possible if something had designed it to be that way, to have like biology. Okay, so in biology, there's something called ratcheting, which allows for complexity by having lower entropy, localized lower entropy, as long as the net overall entropy increases. So you have a ratcheting process to allow these complicated, more complex things to form. And Behe argues that these things like the bacteriophyllum and things of that nature are so irreducibly complex that they couldn't have been formed by iterations. They had been formed more completely, and if you change anything about them, they no longer function. So he believes that some kind of mind had made these things, designed these things, right? So you're saying that is antiquated.
Yeah, the reason why, inadequate and useless, because the reason why I know that it is useless, because I was trying to answer a question in science and in reality, the question is, I'm going to give you, okay? The question is biological cell intelligent design or not? Okay. Oh, wait. I have my slide here. Okay. I'm trying to answer this question. If is biological cell intelligently designed or not? Or, for example, in physics, is any particle intelligent design or not?
Okay.
So if I'm going to use irreducible complexity from Michael Behe, or if I'm going to use information from Stephen Meyer, or if I'm going to use complex specified information from William Dembski, I cannot answer these two questions. There's no answer for
I
that.
kind of agree with you there, actually, but I don't think either one of those answers those questions. I think they're trying to argue for something, but they don't have the evidence to support their conclusions. I think they started with a conclusion, then they're trying to find evidence to support the conclusion, which I'm not necessarily against. It's not typically how it works in science, but I mean, sure, it's not too atypical. That's how science can go about. Hey, look, I have an idea. I want to find things to support it. I get that, but so far, the intelligent design movement has not gained any traction, mostly because they just don't have any real evidential support for it. Everything they seems to me is more of a God of the gaps argument. It seems to me more of a fallacious use of we don't have an explanation at this time, therefore God, or even more specifically, fallacious as in incredulity. They cannot imagine these things coming about by natural mechanisms. And I do hold that intelligent design is repackaged creationism. Now, I know, and this is no big secret, you are a young Earth creationist, right?
Yes.
You haven't changed that, right?
No.
Okay, so young Earth creationism seems to want intelligent design because it kind of makes their position a little bit more formidable to them. I don't think so, but to them. But you accept young Earth creationism, so you automatically have a propensity to try to accept things to your existing beliefs, your coherentist belief system, including this intelligent design. So let's kind of go through this and see what you have to offer to show if this is actually the case. Sound good?
Yeah. Okay. Before that,
Sure.
I was clinging to the old Earth creationism because I've been reading Euro's books. But after I discovered intelligence, I changed my mind. I go back again to young Earth creationism.
Okay.
So, okay, I will continue, okay? So I was trying, after the double trial, I was trying to solve this problem. Is biological cell intelligent design? But there's no answer for this. So I was very curious, and I thought to myself that I'm going to discover, I'm going to nail, I'm going to search, I'm going to research the topic of intelligence, and if there's really no intelligence in biology or in physics or in the world, that was my goal on 2005.
Okay, and you're calling it biological interrelation, biological interrelations.
Interrelation, yes.
Okay, so you have
Yeah.
contact information. I'm gonna skip all that. You start off with an abstract here because I'm gonna just dive into this because I want you to help me understand this. Okay, Edgar?
Okay.
And
Yes.
and the audience, because they love this stuff, don't you guys? What the first person who messages me going, why? I'm gonna just send them because you asked for it or somebody did. Blame the person who asked for this. Okay, abstract.
Okay.
Ready? So you say
Yeah.
all scientific explanations regarding origins, cause and effects, forensic-like studies, and the differences between two opposites or two extremes as being used on all fields of science, such as biology, astronomy, cosmology, psychology, etc., are all topics that require a complete scientific explanation. Should start from the new intelligent design. Okay, I don't know what the hell that means right off the bat, to be honest with you. And I'm not trying to be, ultra criticizing. I just don't know what the hell that means. So explain to us what that means, that all scientific explanations regarding cause and effect, origins, forensic studies require a complete scientific explanation starting from the new idea. Is that just a statement that in order to have these subjects, you have to have your ID?
Okay, so the reason why I wrote that and I claimed that is a big claim.
I agree.
This is a very big claim. The reason why I wrote that, because I discovered, okay, I will show you, I discovered intelligence to non-intelligence. Okay, since I discovered intelligence to non-intelligence, I can use that in the topic of origins. I can use that in the topic of cause and effect. I can use that in the topic of forensic study.
Okay, define intelligence here for us, how you're using the term intelligence.
Okay, in my definition of intelligence, okay, My discovered intelligence, this definition of intelligence. Okay, I have here, and also I have also the in. Okay, the normal scientific definition of intelligence is the principle or a method of reinforcing or giving more support any X. For example, if you would like to build a satellite, you are going to give more support to satellite to survive,
Okay.
to exist, and to succeed in a certain degree of importance.
Sure.
And intelligence always acts on asymmetrical phenomena.
I don't know what that means, though.
Okay, when I say asymmetrical, I mean when you have problem, you will always have two or more solutions. Asymmetry.
Okay, I know what asymmetric means. That I know what a problem solution is. But okay, so you have a background supposedly in engineering, right? So you've had linear equations, which either have 0, 1, or an infinite amount of solutions, right? But there are some problems that only have one solution in math, right? Right. I mean, not to get into the math, but I mean, there are problems that only have one solution, right? There are no multiple solutions, at least if we're staying in the reals, right? I mean, you start getting into complex things like that. But in the reals, there's only certain solutions that can be for X and make the equation correct, right? So there's only one solution. So when you say problem, why is it that has to be some kind of multiple solutions?
No, I mean, when you use intelligence, you are using it for cause and effect. You are using that for knowing the origin of something. You are using that for what should I say? For forensic, like a crime. Like you're trying to know the criminal, who A or B, something like that. You are trying to. In mathematics, you don't normally use that because in mathematics we don't ask for origin. Okay.
Okay. I don't know if that completely explains it, but we'll move on.
Okay.
People are passing out here. By the way, bring alcohol. If you're drinking alcohol, this makes a little bit more sense. Not a lot, but it helps. It certainly don't hurt. Okay, I'm just telling you. And you say period. For if not, science cannot explain reality correctly. So, so you would be appealing to what's called science realism here. That science is actually making a theory that explains reality, properly, that it is what it is, rather than just, an approximation or something that's utilitarian, which is like scientific instrumentalism. You're saying that without this new intelligent design, science cannot explain reality correctly. Therefore, every scientific theory in history cannot be correct. It cannot be at least what reality is, because none of that has used any of this idea, correct?
Well, actually, yes. The reason why I'll show you this example. Okay, can you see it?
I can see. Yes.
There is a blue and black. Okay, blue whiteboard and black whiteboard, right?
Yeah, it looks more like a teal, but on my end. But yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's light. It's blue. Okay.
It's blue and black, right?
Sure.
So the reason why we know that this is blue, because and this black, because our eyes could categorize two different colors.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
In other words, if you would like to know cause and effect, we must have always two competing scenarios: A or B, A or B, A or B, A or B.
Why is it A or B and A or not A? It means things blue or not blue, right?
Because maybe there are many X in the entire universe. For example, if you would like to know something, you are going to be very specific. For example, if you would like to know for example, if you would like to know this whiteboard, your question is which one is blue, which one is black. So you are asking for a categorization or differentiation. And when you are asking for categorization or differentiation, you are using intelligence or non-intelligence approach. Same pattern.
Well, I'm not using non-intelligence. I'm just using the ability to differentiate, because I understand the difference between the color blue and the color, which is a neutral color, black. And my eyes can perceive those two differences, because that's what the brain does. The brain takes
Correct.
photons, and the photon deposits an energy on the retina. The retina then transmits a signal to the brain that the brain has a phenomenological effect that, okay, my brain is seeing blue. Like, people know I'm a color realist, right? People know that I advocate that colors don't exist. Now, again, that's philosophy. It's not like a scientific fact, but philosophically speaking, I'm a color realist. But yeah, that's how the brain processes it, right?
Wait, Steve, that is correct way. In other words, our brain can categorize two competing X. In other words, even though before I discovered this one, is this intelligence or non-intelligence, or this two kind of categorization, human being already know how to use it. But the reason why I said I discovered it, because I put that in a systematic, scientific, numerical, quantitative, detailed, universal. What should I say?
I don't know. I'm still in the second sentence on the abstract here, Edgar. Real quick, Josiah for $5 says, let's play a game. Everyone pop an edible every 10 minutes until this all makes sense. Hey, toss me. I'm not going to have any, but just toss me. Toss me. Edibles. Here you go, man. Oh, wait. Edibles. Yeah, by the way, I'm a lightweight. By the way, to everybody out there, I have half a gummy, and I just sleep like a baby. I don't know how these people eat a whole gummy or two. I have a whole gummy, and this is like I'm out for like 12 hours. Not so. By the way, I might need some alcohol. My moderator's over there going, I don't give a shit. She's like, what? Hello? Hi. I was like, I might need some alcohol. Oh, I'm sorry. I got alcohol up there. I might need this for this. Okay. All right, so let's move on here. But this probably would make more sense if I did take a 10 milligram edible, huh? All right, so you agree, though, all of science is wrong unless they use your new intelligent design, right? That's what you said. Real science must, and you have this bold, so it must be the case. Real science must start from the new intelligent design.
Yes.
Okay. It is the main message and claim from the new intelligent design, and that is all about in this paper. The claim from the new intelligent design was based upon the discoveries of intelligence and non-intelligence and the universal boundary line, UBL, between intelligence, or intentional, to non-intelligence, non-intentional.
Yes. That's right. Correct.
Well, I can tell you in logic, either something has intelligence or something does not have intelligence. That's the law of excluded middle. That's the bivalence principle that a proposition can only be true or false. Either is the case or it is not the case. But I don't know what a boundary layer between intelligence and non-intelligence is, other than either something has intelligence or something does not possess the ability to have intelligence, or does not have intelligence. All right, so you go on to say naturalistic science, or science in general, needs a universal boundary line between the created and the uncreated, intelligent to non-intelligent, intentional to non-intentional, or their synonyms for the universal categorization of all X to completely explain the whole natural realm, scientifically or correctly. Which is kind of weird, Edgar, because I'm going to run this by you and see what you think of it, okay? So let's say you have the set of U, which is the universal set, and that's a set of all things that exist. In that universal set, you can have subsets. You have a set A and you have a complementary set, A prime.
Yes.
So everything must fall into A or A prime. There's nothing nothing fall either outside of those, because those are the two complementary sets in U. So there's no boundary condition between them. Either something is in this set, and if it's not in this set, it's in the other set, A prime. So what would be a boundary condition where something is in neither set? I mean, what's the boundary that it's not in set A intelligent and it's not in set A prime non-intelligent? What's the UBL there?
Well, it depends on the topic, because in science we must be very specific. For example, the origin of life is a simple topic. The origin of the biological cell is a specific topic. Because if you are going to use the generalized topic, it's very hard, because nobody could answer a generalized question. But in science, we must be very specific about cause and effect, forensic study, and origin. For example, made in Japan or made in China, you must be very specific, something like that.
I'm trying to make this a little bit larger for the outside people, so give me a second. They don't seem to care about their sanity. They want to be able to read this. The problem is it's very difficult to make this larger because there's a PDF that I'm drawing it from. But all right, so kind of run by that maybe one more time. It has to do with Japan.
What model, please?
Run that by me one more time. What did it have to do with Japan?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm working here, and my wife is Japanese.
Yeah. But what did that have to do with the boundary, the universal boundary layer? What was it between the intelligence and the non-intelligence?
When I say it is like when you're trying to compare one item, or one item, or if this item is made in Japan or made in China, something like that.
Right, but it's either made in Japan or it's not made in Japan. There's no middle ground there.
But in other words, in categorization, there is always an exclusive, or I call it a seal. There's always an exclusive way for an agent to use intelligence to non-intelligent. There's always an exclusivity. In other words, I'm exclusive to myself, you're exclusive to yourself, and the way we do something are different.
Sure.
Okay, so if somebody will, for example, if somebody told us to make this white blue marker, the way you made it, this one, and the way I made it are two different things. So if one person will say, which one is made by Edgar, which one is made by Steve, so he will always be using the non-intelligence to intelligence approach, the pattern that I have discovered to solve the problem.
All right, we're going to go with that. Hopefully you guys can read that a little bit bigger now. I kind of rearranged things a little bit to make it easier for you guys. By the way, if you're out there and you're not lost, seek help. If you're not lost on this, something's wrong. Okay, so I mean, this the whole goal is to be lost on this because trust me, you're okay. You're safe. This is a safe zone. Okay, the Non-Sequitur Show is a safe zone. You'll be okay. All right, so only the new intelligent design ID has this capability, period. Again, I do that every so often too, like, period. But I usually do that in math, like 1 + 1 = 2, plus, 1 + 1 = 2, period, because there's just there's no argument to be had there. Here, this is something that is up for evaluation because it's not objective. So I don't know why you would use period there, but you say, the problem solution approach is the answer to this scientific quest, as derived for this paper from the working or function of the human brain and dealing with the categorization of all objects in existence. Okay, so problem solution. Explain that. I know you've explained it before in the past, but try again to explain one more time to people.
Okay, problem solution. The best way for me to explain this without any slide is our school. Our school in the classroom, inside the classroom. Okay. Assuming that a teacher will going to make an examination for the class, okay? And the teacher said, "Today, class, we have a test, and the test has a 100 question."
Okay.
So the teacher will say 100 question, but some teachers will going to say something like this: the passing score is 85, the perfect score is 100.
Sure.
Okay. So the reason why the teachers are doing that, because the teachers are trying to help those who are slow learners. Okay, something like that.
Well, no, the teacher does that because they realize that not everybody's going to get 100 on the test, right? There's a degree of expectation that, unless you're, a superstar, most people don't get hundreds across the board. Now, I was like that though. I was like literally that guy that if I got a 98, I was pissed. If I got an 89, I didn't care. Seriously, I'm not joking. If I got like in the 80s, I was like, hey, you know what? I didn't really know it that great. I suppose I should have, but I passed. I got a B. I'm happy. But I was a straight A student with a 4.0, and so I would expect 100 on everything. And I've got a 98 or something like that. It drove me nuts because why'd I miss that one? But 85 is passing. Let's say, and that's pretty high for passing, by the way. It should be much lower than that.
Let's say 75.
All right, 75. Let's say 75 above is passing and non-graded on the curve or anything like that.
Okay.
That's just showing that the questions are designed to show that you at least have some proficiency and understanding of the topic, that even if you get things wrong, there's a learning thing to be had, because most time when you get something wrong on a test, you can go look it up, and then now you won't make that same mistake. So sometimes it's actually okay to make mistakes on a test, because it makes those questions more in your brain that, okay, this is why I messed it up. I won't make that mistake again. So there's always things to learn, even from making mistakes, but I don't know how that's a problem solution.
Okay, wait. Let me continue. Okay.
Sure.
So on that examination time, on that time, the original problem is 100.
Yes.
Okay. But in the same test, the teachers had made 2 problems in 1 problem, and the class will be required to solve 75 and to solve 100. Okay, one more. Okay.
Yeah, one more. I'm not following that.
Okay. In one examination, the teachers are asking the student 2 solutions. 1 solution for 75, 1 solution for 100.
But those aren't 2 solutions. Those are just the students. Some students are
solution, right?
Yeah.
75, 1 solution for 75, 1 solution for 100. Okay. So, but the teacher said, if you got 75, you will pass, meaning you will become successful. So, in other word, intelligent or non-intelligent is when you have an examination, when you have a 75 and you get 75 passing grade and you get the 75, you are successful as non-intelligence. But when you got 100, you did not only solve 75, you also solved 100. Oh, wait.
Okay.
But in other words, an intelligent person, a student, has 1 problem and solved he has 2 solutions. 1 solution for 75, 1 solution for 100, which means the definition of intelligence is problem, solution, and non-intelligent is problem, solution. If you are going to use that in examination, right?
I'll be right back. Hang on. Okay. All right. So the issue I'm having is that there isn't no 2 problem there. There's no problem to be had. It's just that certain students are going to accomplish more than the other students. A certain student is going to get 75, someone's going to get 100, but that's not a problem. It's just that both students are, all the students are intelligent. Whether you get 75 or 100 doesn't really mean that one is more intelligent than the other. It just means maybe one studied that particular topic more than the other, or you made a stupid mistake, but that doesn't have anything to do with intelligence. If you and I took the same test, right, and I got 100 and you got 75 on one day, but let's say, you made a stupid mistake. The next day, you might completely, get 100 if you would have studied this other topic, or if you would have not made a similar mistake, but your intelligence level has not changed. You just recognize that you didn't study what you probably should have studied. So I don't know what the problem is by having, 75 for the passing and 100 for like perfect. That's just a scale. That's just the fact that this is the arbitrary cutoff.
Yeah. You get the right word. Scale, limit, range.
Sure.
In other words, intelligence and non-intelligence has a range. Problem, solution, and problem, solution. Because if your teacher will be giving you a 75 examination, you have to pass it.
Yes.
Because that's the normal problem. But if the teacher said, you have 100 problem, you have another 75 problem, and you solve the 2, then you are intelligent based on the way we categorize things. That's the easiest way for me to derive intelligence to non-intelligence by using problem, solution, and problem, solution.
All right.
Stop an expert.
All right, so you go on to say the result is the UBL that apply. By the way, guys, just remember we're in the abstract. Okay, this is just the abstract. The result is the UBL is applicable to all fields of science, such as biology, astronomy, or psychology, etc., to all questions that deal with 2 unequal objects for categorization.
Correct. Yes.
Correct. So that would be like dog, non-dog?
No, for example, in biology, if you would like to know about biological world, you are going to categorize it. For example, you are going to categorize replication, division, population, biological cell. There are many words in biology that you can categorize.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my case, because I know intelligence, non-intelligence, I can categorize almost all event or word that we are using in biology. That's why, for example, in my question, I show you about the. Okay, I show you about is biological cell intelligent design or not?
Right.
This one is looking for a two scenario: intelligence or non-intelligence. So if you know about intelligence, then you will know if you are going to go to biology and you are going to study the cell. If you know the pattern of intelligence, then you will know if cell is intelligently designed or not.
But biology would say that the cell was designed by nature, teleonomically, not teleologically. So you're saying, though, I mean, obviously you want the intelligence to be a god, right? You're claiming that God designed cells, right?
What I'm trying to say is that before you claim something that is non-intelligent or intelligent, first you need to know which is the dividing line between the two. Do you know the dividing line? Line.
It's the dividing line is a set there. Either something was biologically designed, intelligently designed, or something was not. There's no middle ground there. There's no dividing line.
So in other words,
well, there's a dividing line, but it's just there's no actual line there. It's either in that set or it's not in that set. Period.
Correct. Yeah. But before we could conclude that this is designed intelligently or not, we need first to understand and know what is intelligence and what is non-intelligence. Mm-hmm. Because we cannot claim in science. We cannot claim, for example, I cannot claim that that this one was designed intelligently mm-hmm. for this one was designed intelligently if I don't know the word intelligence.
Mm-hmm. Well, intelligence design would just mean that somebody actually went and came up with a plan to how to make that particular pen, and then they fabricated it, right? So somebody, let's say an engineer, drew the draft, said, this are the specifications I want for the plastic for this pen. They went to a molding injection company. They fabricated the item, but somebody that had an intelligence had to make the plans for the machine to understand how to fabricate it. So that pen in your hand would not exist if intelligence did not exist, correct? If there's no such thing as intelligence, there's no such thing as awareness, there's no such thing as consciousness, there's nowhere in the universe that pen would exist, correct?
Correct. So that's why it is very important for us to understand first what is intelligence to non-intelligence.
Well, the intelligence, again, is explaining. I'm explaining. Intelligence is the ability to do that, right? The ability to fabricate something and to come up with a design requires some sense of intelligence. The ability to have a cell or anything biological, there's nothing in science that requires any kind of intelligence for that. It's designed by nature. It's called teleonomic design, which is a parent of design, but not actually designed by anything of any kind of intentionalities. It has no intentional states. Nature is a designer, just by reiterations, trial and error, natural selection.
Yeah, the reason why I disagree with that, because before a scientist or a person will claim, he must have first a dividing line between the two, design and non-design. Intelligence to non-intelligence, intentional to non-intentional.
Yeah, but nature's not intentional, right? You agree with that? Nature's not intentional.
Nature is not intentional.
Right. Okay, so nature designs it. That is the dividing line, as you would put it in your vernacular. The cell and things of that biological facts are designed by nature. That's why we exist, because of reiterations and trial and error and natural selection. It doesn't require an intelligence to do that, though.
Yeah, that's a claim. But
it's a claim, sure.
I can also make that claim. But before I can make a claim, I must first use a differentiation, a technique, a method, a tool, to know if this. I need a ruler, right? If you say that this line is straight or curved, all you have to do is use a ruler. So let's say you look at it, you find an item. Like we'll call it an object. You're walking along the beach, you find an object, okay? Okay.
And you want to know if that object is designed by some kind of intelligence, or if it's just the nature did it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Is that what you're saying? Do you want some kind of ability to do that?
Yeah, that's right. Before you could categorize that items, whatever this, whatever is that item is, first you must have a tool or a ruler or a pattern or a guide to differentiate the two. If not, you will always have a wrong conclusion.
Okay.
In reality, you will always be like a religious people or a fantasy. You are trying to make your own fantasy, and you call it science. If you don't know intelligence or non-intelligence.
I'm not understanding how that has to do with science, because science adheres to methodological naturalism, right? So science actually precludes any kind of non-natural explanation, which I would put intelligence design to be non-natural.
Well, where's the part of in the word intelligent is? Do you think when you use the word intelligent, you are using about non-natural?
When I'm using the word intelligence, that can only be by an agent that has the ability to think, to reason, to have intentional states, right?
So do you think you human being do have intelligence?
Most, but not all. I know a lot of. I would say there's a lot of people out there that don't have much intelligence. Now they all have some to some degree if they're conscious agents. But there's definitely degrees of intelligence. Some people are more intelligent than others. I think that's just kind of reality, right? I mean, but all people that are functional, anybody has the ability to watch this video has some degree of intelligence. Probably not too much because they're actually watching this video, but for the most part, you have to be able to function, and in order to function, it requires an intelligence to know how to do certain things, right? That you cannot be brain dead, and I mean literally by brain dead, have no neuronic activity and do certain things. There has to be some kind of mind, consciousness, awareness, and intelligence to be able to do these things. Would you not agree with that?
Well, I call that a principles of intelligence. And any agent who are going to use an intelligence will always call it principles of intelligence. He will be using that. For example, he will be using. Oh wait, I have a slide there.
Oh, I know you got slides. You got a lot of slides. Yes.
Okay, I'm looking for my slide. I call that a principles of intelligence, and because I'm here. I have here. If an agent like you or me or a human being or anything, we're going to use intelligence, that agent will always be using the principle of reinforcement of support, in importance, simultaneity or in time, of knowledge, success, independence, existence, survival, success, and determinism. So these are the things that an agent will be using if he would like to use intelligence. That's what I've discovered.
Why do you call this a discovery, by the way, rather than like a formulation?
One more, please.
Why do you call this a discovery rather than a formulation?
Yeah, the reason why I call it discovery, because this kind of idea has sort of been around for the time that human beings have been here on Earth, but no one had ever tried to put that in a scientific, detailed, numerical, quantitative way that we can use in science and every question of origin, cause and effect, and forensic-like study. I am the only person in the world who had put that in a systematic way, just scientific way, and in other words, like a ruler, like a technique. I am the only one who did that. That's why I am the one who discovered it, that there's in nature there's a concept or a principle or a method that we can use to differentiate any X. If you would like to know the origin, the cause and effect, something like that, in everything in the world.
Okay.
In existence.
All right, so you're going to call that a discovery. Like for that, I mean, there's a controversy we had on mathematics, whether mathematics is invented or discovered. And by the way, I generally more towards discovery. I think the language is invented, the way to comprehend mathematics is invented, but the mathematics itself is something that is discovered. We have discovered these things about the universe that have these relationships, and so I'm more in the discovery camp. Although there's no right or wrong, it's philosophy. There's no objective matter to be had there, I don't think. But I tended to say that we discover certain things to be the case. Like when we learned what a differential is, when we learned what how to take a derivative, we discovered certain relationships by the slope of the tangent line on some point on a circle that we could say, oh, look, we can use this information to make a derivative out of it, right? And then we can formulate that using Leibniz and Newtonian calculus and the notation. So the notation is all, created, but I guarantee that you go to some other alien race that has intelligence, that understands math, the concepts are going to be exactly the same. A differential is a differential. They're not going to have something different because physics is not, in reality, and mathematics is not going to be any different for them. Assuming,
Correct.
in this reality, right? So, all right. So you go on to say, and by the way, I'm gonna throw a picture up on the outside, so you'll see it come up in about 20 seconds, and because I want to ask about this, about how I'm going to show you a picture. I'm sure you've seen it before and you know what it is, but I want to know how you would use your model to determine whether this was intelligently designed or if it was just by nature, okay? So you're watching the outside. I know you are. So let me know when it comes up for you, and I'll continue reading here. Sorry, it's going to cover up the reading from the outside. It says, problem in naturalistic science. How will you answer the scientific question in science or religion? How can you differentiate a created X to an uncreated X? Will you answer the created X is complex or irreducibly complex, and the uncreated X is simply or reducibly complex? Or in biology, a difference or dividing line between intentionally made biological cell to non-intentional? Will you answer intentional is information coded, while the non-intentional is no information coded? Now, this goes kind of into what I'm showing you here. A lot of people know this. What this is, it's very recognizable. Any geologist would know what it is. Anybody who's been around science has seen this before. So I mean, it's beautiful. I think this is one of the most amazing things in geology. But you can see it on the outside, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you know what this is, right?
I think they're using it I think they're using that for evolution.
Well, no, it's not for evolution. Okay, so before I tell you what it is, if you're not sure what it is, how would you use your method to determine whether this was jewelry that somebody created, or if it's something that they found along the beach and it just nature created it? How would you determine that this was intelligently designed by man, a god, or it's just nature? By what means?
Okay, so if I'm going to, if somebody asks me, is this picture, is this object is intelligent design or not? If I'm going to use my discovery, first I'm going to use, I call it problem, solution. And by comparing these things to the things that we are using, that we are doing in manufacturing, something like that, there is a probability that this thing is intelligent design, because intelligent design predicts that if there are three features of this object that look like intelligence, similar with what we are doing here in human being, then this object is intelligent design.
Okay, so is this man-made?
Yeah.
This is man-made.
My first draft.
No. This piece of what looks like jewelry, is it? How would you determine a man made this?
Well, if somebody were going to ask me again, this question. So I'm going to, for example, use some more detailed. Maybe I'm going to know the origin. I'm going to go to.
Oh yeah, I get that. I mean, you can look in the history of something. I'm just saying, by looking at this particular picture, could you use your new intelligent design to determine whether this was intelligent designed or just by some random thing of nature?
Yeah, in my categorization, I'm going to use the new intelligent design. I will call this one is somebody had designed it.
Okay. Well, so how would you know if a man designed this, or a deity, or some cosmic intelligence? How would you know?
I don't know. Because when you are going to sedate, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So here's the thing. Okay, this is called bismuth. It is a gem. It's a mineral. I'm sorry, it's a mineral. Bismuth is a mineral, isn't it? Right. But it is a rock formation. It occurs naturally, right? So no man ever created this. So how would you look at this, and you look at like just a rock on the beach, or the beach itself, or the earth? All of that. If this is something that is intelligently designed, then all of reality has to be intelligently designed. So how do you differentiate between something that's not intelligently designed if you only have the sample size of the reality, and everything in that reality is intelligently designed? You have no comparator. You have nothing to say, this is what we would expect to be if it's not intelligent design, because you just say, look, everything's intelligent design. Look at that cloud. It's intelligent designed. Oh, look at that rock. It's intelligent design, which means there had to have been some designer go, oh, I want to make this rock. I want to make this rock exactly to the specification. I want to make this cloud at this particular time exactly at the specifications. So this intelligent designer is constantly in designing things, but you have no comparator, because what would be a non-intelligent designed object? How would we know what a non-intelligent designed object would even look like? What would be something that's not intelligent designed?
Yeah, the reason why our mind can recognize design and non-design, because we are dealing with a lot of things or items here in especially in our times. We are dealing a lot of many things.
But your model, there's nothing that's not designed. Give me an example of something that's not designed.
For example, not design. For example, the cloud. If you are going to use the cloud, for example, the formation of the cloud.
Okay, but you just said that rock was designed. How is that rock designed and the cloud's not?
No, I mean, the cloud probably is designed, but the formation of it, the shape of that is not designed. So in other words,
how could that not be designed? I mean, look at the shape of the bismuth. That's designed. It's really cool. You said that was intelligent design. If that's intelligent design, then a cloud would be the intelligent design. Because look, I see clouds out here. That one looks like, well, actually, it doesn't look like. It looks like a nebula. It's just fused. The other one I'm gonna go. It looks like a cat. I'm gonna go with a cat. It looks like a cat. That means that because it looks like a cat, that had to be intelligent design, right? Do you see the cloud out there? Just say yes. No, there is an actual cloud out there. It's way over there. But how is that not intelligent designed?
Yeah, Steve. There are many ways to categorize X. There are many ways to do that. Because if, for example, the one that you saw me, for example, maybe I don't know the items, but my first reaction based on intelligence is design.
Right. Is that cloud created?
By my own knowledge. But if I'm going, for example, dig deeper, and for example, dig deeper on this topic, then I can probably categorize better. Because
right. No, I get that. But Edgar, my question is, how is it that those clouds are not designed? Somebody had to create clouds, right? Intelligent design. An intelligent designer said, "I want clouds to exist." Now you're saying that the concept of the cloud is conceptualized, but the instantiation is not, because that wouldn't make any sense, because now you have cells, right? I have cells in my body. You're saying each one of these cells is intelligent designed. These are all instantiations. God just didn't create, I want to create the cell. He instantiated them, supposedly, and each one of my cells is intelligent designed. So it would follow that cloud that exists right there, well, it's gone now, but whatever, is intelligent designed. It's moved over there. So how is that not intelligent designed?
No, first, you are trying to compare two things differently. You are trying to ask. You are trying to say, how about the cell, the origin of cell? How about the origin of cloud? In science, we must be very specific. For example, okay, the cloud. Is the cloud intelligent design or not? For me, I don't know. But if the question is maybe the universe is designed or not, or the earth is designed or not. Because, we have to, okay?
Yeah, but you're not giving me the ability to determine what's intelligent design. You're just arbitrary. You're just saying, this is intelligent design, that's not intelligent design. The cell is, but that cloud isn't. Oh, but that rock is.
No, the reason. Okay, for me, I never yet categorized the cloud. Okay, but if I'm going to say that if the universe is designed or not, I can do that. So inside the universe, everything are designed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what would a non-designed universe look like? Let's say the universe was not designed. What would that universe look like?
The universe will never have a dual particle.
Would I have what?
Dual particle.
Dual particles?
Yeah, the particle wave. We don't have that. If the universe is not designed, we cannot find a dual particle. We cannot find existent, non-existent.
Why not? I mean, a particle wave is just basically, I don't want to go into the whole quantum mechanics stuff, but a particle wave duality is just how we observe something. We can either see it as a particle or we can see it as a wave, and they exist contemporary with each other. But that's just physics. That has nothing to do with being intelligent designed or not.
I mean, because intelligence predicts the definition of intelligence said that intelligence always acts on asymmetrical phenomenon. Particle and wave is an asymmetrical phenomenon. Existent to non-existent is an asymmetrical phenomenon.
Why is that asymmetrical? They're two different phenomenon. One exists as a wave, the other one as a particle, and that's just because when we observe a certain thing like a photon, it can exhibit either properties depending on how it's observed. If you look at it in one way, it can be a wave, and that's mathematically modeled as a wave. But if you look at it in a more stochastic way to determine where something's going to be probabilistically, it helps to think of it more as a particle. But
so that's the reason why that's the way that's how the intelligence predicts that if there is an intelligent agent who had designed the universe, we will always find an asymmetrical phenomenon inside the universe. For example, existence to non-existence is asymmetrical. If the universe is not designed, we will always find existence only or no existence.
Okay, I don't know what the hell that said.
Well, let's explain.
Okay, yeah, no, please, no, I want you to explain. Look, I'm trying to understand this. Okay, these aren't kicking in, man.
So
with me here.
The design, the non-design universe, the non-intelligent design universe must always be existence or existence. There will be no non-existence.
There would be no non-existence. Okay, so
but in our universe, we found out that there will always be existence or non-existence because we have a Big Bang.
Well, that's not Big Bang. That's logic. Either existence or non-existence. There's no other options. Again.
So that's the reason why logic too is part of intelligence, because it is asymmetrical. It follows the intelligence said it is always act. I will show you the definition. This is the definition of intelligence. Okay, intelligence. Okay. Intelligence is a principle of reinforcing an acts for to survive, to exist, and to succeed in a certain degree of importance. And intelligence is always acts on asymmetrical phenomenon. So whenever you see an asymmetrical phenomenon, our mind will say this one is intelligence. That's why when I see.
Okay, what's the intelligence of a particle and wave?
Yeah, the particle and if the universe is not designed, we will always expect wave particle, or particle. There will be no asymmetrical.
Why would we expect wave particle when there's only one object we're looking at?
Yeah, because that is our mind. That's our mind was being tuned in the existence. That's how our mind understand it. That's why before you explain something in the universe, you must understand intelligence first.
Okay.
Because once you understand this, you will understand the universe has an asymmetrical. For example, in my case, human being has death and has life. Okay, death and life.
Well, life is not dead in this particular case. So dead or not dead, not dead would be life. Yes.
There's intelligence. There will be no death. There will be no life.
You can't have So if there's no such thing if there's no such thing as intelligence, nobody would ever die.
If there's no if the universe, if the earth was created with no intelligence, we will never die.
I don't know how that follows.
Because intelligence said it is always acts on asymmetrical, because life and death is asymmetrical phenomenon. They are opposite.
But if there's no such thing as intelligence, it just means that the universe is all probably pretty much materialistic, and there's no, other thing than just simple causality that one thing determines another. But we don't have any intervention because there's no intentionality. There's no people in there to do anything. So let's say the planet Earth didn't exist, right? It did not exist. It just wiped away. There's no intelligence in the universe, right? You would say that at that point. Is the universe? How could you say it's still created? I mean, if humans didn't exist because we're trying to apprehend this, you're saying the universe still would exist. There's still an intelligent designer that exists, but no intelligent agents exist in that universe, and that's okay with you?
That would be impossible.
Why is that impossible? Wait. How is that impossible? That's completely logically possible. The Earth blows up, gone, possible.
Okay. The definition that I discovered of intelligence is the principles of reinforcing an acts to survive, to exist, and to succeed. If you would like to exist something, you need intelligence. If you would like to exist universe, you need intelligence.
But you agree, though, the Earth can disappear, right? It is logically possible for the Earth to cease to be right now, correct?
Correct.
And all life vanishes.
Yeah, possible.
All known life exists in the universe vanishes. But the universe is still created at that point.
Well, it depends what kind of universe.
Our universe, what do you mean what kind of universe? Our universe, the Earth disappears tomorrow. It just, poof, gone.
Because intelligence predicts that if there is an existence, there is always an intelligence. Because intelligence is always used for existence, for success, for...
but there is no intelligence in the universe at that point. All life ceased to be in the universe. There's no more intelligence.
That's impossible. Because
why is that impossible? That's completely possible.
Because intelligence is always used for existence.
But Edgar, you're telling me that it's not possible for the Earth to... Look, I'm not talking about like physically possible, but this is a thought experiment. Are you telling me that it's logically impossible for the Earth to cease to exist tomorrow? Because there's nothing illogically impossible about that. It's completely logically possible.
Yeah, possible. But why?
Well, it doesn't matter what the reasons are. Time Lord came by and said, "I don't want this planet to be here." You know, whatever.
Okay.
So, or that would be intelligence. So, let me see here. All of a sudden, this rogue black hole just came by and just ate us up, and we're gone, right? Tomorrow, there's a big black hole that's on its way to come get us, and it just don't worry about your astrophysics out there. I know this doesn't work this way, guys. But this is a thought experiment. So, a black hole, rogue black hole, just comes into our solar system and just eats the entire solar system. It's all gone. There's no life left anywhere in the universe that we know of, because we're gone anyways. Is the universe still intelligent design at that point?
Yes, because we have existence. In the very existence of the universe tells us.
We wouldn't exist at that point.
If the universe don't exist, then there probably no intelligence.
Okay. By the way, like I said, you do hold that there's a creator that did this intelligence, right? There is an intelligence that is an intentional creator, correct?
Because intelligence predicts it. Because intelligence is always used for existence, for sex. Intelligence is the principle.
But that creator, but I get that, Edgar. But I'm saying is that creator, the creator is the intelligent agent here, correct?
Yes, the one who designed the universe.
Yeah, okay. And you have a name for that?
Yeah, my candidate is Jesus Christ.
Okay. All right.
Candidate.
Okay. I got you. Okay. Orient cosmology, an intelligent design universe to the non-intentionally designed universe. Will you answer intelligent design universe is complex or fine-tuned, while the opposite is simple or not fine-tuned, rough-tuned? Seriously and scientifically speaking, without the powerful scientific explanations from the new intelligent design ID, the above questions are unanswerable. I don't know about the answerability, but in logic, either the universe had a creator or it didn't, whether it was intelligent design or was not intelligent design. There are no middle grounds in logic, okay? Now, you're starting, but see, the problem I'm having is that you're starting with the presupposition that it is Jesus. This is not something that you came to the conclusion of. This is something you've assumed because of your religious beliefs that you have designed this particular theory around to try to conform and support those beliefs. It's nothing you came to independently. You couldn't say, look, Jesus doesn't exist, therefore I still found and discovered this new all-powerful intelligent design. That wouldn't work in your methodology, right? Could Jesus not exist and this still be the case?
Well, the reason, before I discovered intelligence, I'm already a Christian, okay?
You're still a Christian, though.
Yeah, I'm already a Christian until now, though. So, but after I discovered intelligence predicts, I always tell you that intelligence is problem, solution. There are three. Problem, solution. There are three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got that the last couple times I've talked to you. Yes.
Logic. There are the three. In other words, if there's an agent, this agent probably has a three person or three something that I don't know.
Is that the Trinity?
Yeah, probably, yes.
Okay, yeah, so God is the problem, Jesus and the Holy Ghost are the solution.
No, I'm not saying that.
I think a lot of Christians would probably disagree with you on that. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but I don't think that follows in modern day Christianity, man.
No, when I say problem, solution, I say three tires. Tire 1, tire 2, tire 3, TIER, tire. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and it predicts that an agent must have at least 3 persons.
An agent. Okay, so I'm an agent. I'm an intelligent agent with intentional states, meaning I can act upon certain things. I have 3 states.
Yes.
What are my 3 states? Problem, solution, solution.
Well, if I'm going to use that, a problem, solution, solution.
What about satellite?
The satellite?
Yeah.
It is design.
Yeah.
It is design.
No, but you have. Remember, you had like problem, satellite, solution.
Yeah, for example, the satellite, the James Webb. The James Webb is for example, if the NASA engineers use many safety features, for example, 5 or 7. So I will use that problem, solution until 7.
Okay.
But my discovery said that the 3 is the maximum. Okay, I have here. 3 is the maximum limit of intelligence, and beyond that.
Yeah, you have you okay. So yeah, in your these are, by the way, Flamio wants to know for $5. Thank you, Flamio. What is Yahweh's IQ? Infinite?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, so I would probably say infinite. Yeah, you can figure out anything, I guess. Anything that's logical. But in your thing you had there, you're dealing with probabilities, and you hold that you can have a probability greater than 1, correct?
Correct.
Which makes no sense to anybody that knows anything about math, because you're invoking supernatural causations to say it's somehow higher than 1, right?
No, I in my discovery, this intelligence is predicting us that we need to use an advanced probability that is being used by intelligence.
But what does it mean to have a higher probability of 1?
The one that we are using now is a natural or non-intelligent probability.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That you believe that a higher than 1 probability, which is outside how probability works, probability must be in the range between 0 and 1.
I'm changing it.
But
we have a new
but
one.
makes no but you're changing it to something that is incoherent. It's mathematically incoherent.
No, it's possible because
it's not.
Because this one came from reality.
If you have a probability of 1 as opposed to a probability of, let's say, 3, and it hurts me to say this, guys. It really just the probability of 3 it hurts. But let's work with it. So if you have a probability of 1, you have a probability of 3. How does that change anything? If I say that there is a probability of 1 that this event will happen, and I say that there's a probability of 3 that this event will happen, that event will happen regardless. It doesn't make anything more likely or less likely. It's still going to happen. That's why it's capped at 1. That's why the range for probability, it was McGoff's, I think whatever the guy's name, he came up with the range from 0 to 1. It cannot be higher than 1. 1 is 100%, right? So if you have 100% that something's going to happen, you cannot get higher than that.
Yeah, that's the reason why I am saying that this one is an advanced intelligent probability.
But it is nonsensical in math.
I'm not a mathematician, probably. I don't know. Maybe in the future, a mathematician will going to figure it out.
No mathematician is going to work. No, it never will happen.
I don't know. But this one, it came from this. This is part of reality. For example,
you're like, but Edgar, what you're saying is kind of like 1 minus 1 equals 2. You're saying things are just mathematically incoherent. Because 1 minus 1 equals 0 in mathematics. 1 minus 1 cannot equal 2. It's just mathematically impossible for the unitary operator. There's no mathematician in the world that would make that the case for the real numbers. Now, I'm not talking about some kind of constructivist. But for the real numbers, 1 minus 1 will always equal 2, always and forever. That's a mathematical objective fact. You're taking something that says, look, I have now a range of probability that's outside what probability even means. There's no possibility whatsoever of probability being greater than 1 or less than 0. You can't have a negative probability. Either an event's going to happen or it won't happen, or there's some degree of likelihood in between, because that's mostly stochastic, meaning that we don't have information of how to determine the outcome. Now, even in a deterministic universe, there's a specific outcome that's going to happen. If I throw a dice, right, or a die, once it leaves my hands, it's already determined what's going to land based upon the laws of the universe, right? I have no control over it after that point. I'm done. I've imparted the energy to it. Boom, it's going to go. But it's still stochastic to us that we do not have the information to know what the die is going to land on, right? But it's still going to land on one of 6 sides. It already has been determined. We just are not aware of that information yet. So the probability is still there, 1 out of 6, until it has actually been landed and it comes up with a let's say like 6. The probability is still 1 out of 6, even though after it's left our hand, that has already been determined. But the probability cannot be anything other than 1 out of 6. It cannot be 8 out of 6 because it only has 6 sides. Right?
Yeah. What I'm trying to say is that in a probability, we are trying to guess why by natural process, by non-intelligence. So we are just letting the natural processes do the job. But in the intelligent probability, there is an agent who is controlling the probability.
Okay. So if God's controlling the probability, or some intelligence is controlling the probability, can he? Well, hang on. Can he make a 6-sided die land on the 8th side?
No, I don't know. Probably yes. I don't know.
We can't. It's a logical impossibility. Are you saying that God can do logical impossibilities?
Well, I think he is a logical person, so he cannot violate the laws.
Okay, so he cannot make A equal not A, correct?
Okay,
and I grant that. Look, if God exists, I will grant that being has to be logical. I can't imagine a God to do illogical things. I get that, and I uphold that, right? I think when a theist posits a deity, once they say, yes, God can only do things that are logical, I'm on board with that. If they say God can do impossibly logical things like A equals not A, that God does not exist, period. It's end of story. I'm done. I don't just, reserve judgment. I don't have agnosticism on it. I don't suspend judgment. I will tell you, if you believe in a God that can create A equals not A, that particular God does not exist unequivocally.
Correct.
Okay.
I agree. Right. Because logical God always, because in my discovery, a logical God always uses intelligence, yes. And intelligence follows logic.
Yes.
So that's how we understand it.
And by the way, a Tal had asked, what if a 6-sided die lands on this corner? Well, that's not one of the sides, right? There's only 6 sides to land on. There are no other sides. So yes, if it falls off the, if it lands on a corner, or if it doesn't, land right, if it gets stuck somewhere, those are not considered to be an actual roll, right? So, but all right, so let's kind of get more into this real quick. This is running long. Science is always powerful, since science crushes all lies, deceits, and errors caused by erroneous scientists when they claim incorrect explanations of reality in any field of science. Science too is correct and true. So you're advocating scientific realism here, right?
Yes, science is real. Science is real because reality is only one.
Mm-hmm. Science is always testable, confirmable, and falsifiable. But falsifiability is not necessarily something that has to be in science. It's kind of one of those things that some scientists accept, some kind of scientists don't. I do believe science has to be testable. I believe it has to be confirmationable. I think it has to have some degree of repeatability, or at least in theory. Some tests are not repeatable, but I get that. But there has to be at least in theory able to be repeated. And some things in science are not experimental. There's also called observational science. We can't experiment on some far star, right? That's not an observational thing only. We observe the star, and then we can do certain experiments, like testing for like spectrography and things of that nature. But we cannot actually take that star, put it into a jar, and do an experiment on it. So that kind of science is called observational science. Science too is correct and true. But using the scientific experiment and scientific categorization between two opposites, science always points to correct direction and explanations. Science too is fair, since reality is fair. I don't know what you mean by science too is fair. Reality is fair, whether you're a religious person or not. What makes reality fair? Why does reality even have any kind of intentional state?
Because there are many scientists who are claiming like a religious person, who were going to use this as a presuppositional belief or view. For example, in biology, that everything in biology are non-intelligence. That's a belief.
Well, sure, and I'm fine with that. I mean, that's a belief predicated upon what's called, again, teleonomic understandings of these things. And I'm not even against presuppositions. I was just like people to admit they have a presupposition. In science, we presume certain things. Our presupposition that the universe exists. That has to be the first assumption even made before you can do an experiment. If you don't have the presupposition that there's something to even experiment on, then what the hell are you doing, right? But you do seem to put the presupposition that there is an intelligence ahead of everything else, and then you try to find explanations and reasons to try to support that presupposition. See, and there's a difference there, because when science takes a presupposition, it does it out of necessity. There's no other way to do science unless you presuppose there's something to do science on.
But in my case, it's different. Before I presuppose, I first discovered the intelligence of non-intelligence. I use that as a basis.
But no. That's not the case, though. You presupposed there was even such a thing as intelligence before you even made those determinations. You presupposed there was a universe.
No, I never presupposed that there's a universe. That's why in science, before we presuppose or preconclude or make our own basis, we must first know the difference between intelligence and non-intelligence, because it will help us to make our presupposition or conclusion correct.
Okay.
In my case, I never said, for example, I never said that the universe is designed without knowing intelligence. If I don't know about intelligence, I cannot claim that. I'll be a religious people like other people.
All right.
So because I discovered intelligence and non-intelligence, or I use intentional, non-intentional. I know that too. Therefore, I can tell that if the universe is designed or not, or cell is designed or not, or this marker is designed by design or not, or something like that. Meaning, I have a tool, I have a ruler, I have a system to categorize any subject that we are going to talk in science.
Well, you go on to say here, and by the way, you do kind of explain this. Science has no boundary limit between countries, creeds, races, continents, since, as I said, reality is fair to all. Okay, I mean, I get that reality is applicable to all. I don't know if it's fair, but reality is applicable to all. We all live in the same reality. Well, I shouldn't say that. There are some people that I think live in a very different reality, metaphorically speaking, at least psychologically speaking, they live in a very different reality. That's why they have alternative facts. But as far as like the ontological reality, we exist in the same extant universe.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
This is where the new intelligent design stands, and this paper will show you the reasons. Now, let me make abundantly clear, this paper has never been accepted by anybody. It's been rejected across the board. There's just nobody that'll ever publish it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you go on to say, before Charles Darwin had published his shared scientific explanation about biological evolution in 1859, most scientists at the time had already been accepting by default explanation that both the origin of existence, universe, life, and origin of species were created or designed by the Christian God, that is, Jesus Christ, even though scientists from this group had no scientific dividing line between created X equals anything that should be scientifically categorized or classified, to non-created X. This explanation is from the creation camp or religious camp. Logical and fair scientists were surely asked, how can we falsify the created X? Now, there's some truism of this. I mean, I think before Darwin, yes, it was probably more commonly held that life was somehow, of a creator. God was prevalent in those times. Gods have been prevalent for thousands of years. But as science progressed, the amount of belief in gods have diminished. That's an unequivocal fact. If you look at the statistics, I think even you would agree. Religiosity these days, and I'm saying at least in America. I'm not going to talk about other countries because I don't have any data on that. But in America, religiosity has gone down considerably, even in the last 100 years. I mean, notably, and I would say even worldwide, it has probably gone down considerably, except for maybe certain pockets in the Middle East. But you agree that there are more people today alive that probably believe that the universe is not created than it was in, say, like the 18th century or the 19th century, correct?
Yeah, the reason why for that is that this is the problem for the creationist camp.
Oh, also, yes, I agree.
And also the old intelligent design camp didn't have a dividing line between created to non-created. They must, before they could conclude something in science, they must first know the truth. because they will become religious if you conclude one side. If you don't know, you don't know the.
But as a theist, as a Christian, you believe that Jesus created everything, correct?
Yeah.
So everything was created. There's nothing that's non-created. It means nothing is not designed. Everything is created is designed if it's created by Jesus or God.
Yeah, non-intelligence to is design. But when God created the universe, for example, he created also non-intelligence processes.
So did God create something that was non-created? Which is a complete contradiction, but I'm working with it.
Can God create non-created?
Yeah, what would God create that wasn't actually created? That would make again, it is a contradiction. But is everything in the universe created?
Yes.
Okay, so there's nothing in the universe that is not created, correct?
Yes.
Which means that if it was created, it was yeah. So work with me here. So if it was created, it had to be designed, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Non-intelligence to was designed.
Yeah, but work with me here. But hang on, Edgar, we're working with me here. Follow this reasoning.
Okay.
If everything in the universe is created, and everything that's created it had a design,
correct.
It follows logically that there's nothing in the universe that was not designed.
Well, wait. Because inside the universe there are many objects.
But you're not following the reason. Maybe I should ask the live chat. You guys following my reasoning here? If God created everything, and everything that created must be designed, then there's the transitive property that is invoked here. That means that everything that exists must be designed, and therefore there is nothing in the complementary set of things that are not designed. You can if
I understand. I understand.
Okay, great. So everything in the universe is designed. Everything is designed. So there's nothing in the universe that is not designed. Period. Right?
Yeah, that's why I said to you that if the universe was designed, then intelligence too and non-intelligence too are designed. In other words, these two are also part of reality, intelligence and non-intelligence.
Okay.
This is also part of design, right? So the applications maybe are different, but the origin are the same.
Right. Okay. But even a pebble is designed, right?
Correct.
A rock is designed. The cloud is designed.
Yes.
You're designed.
Yes.
Everything's designed. Right?
Yeah, but that's why I told you that there also a non-intelligence. That's why there is also a non-intelligent process that makes success.
Okay, but what would be? But you've already concluded there's nothing in the universe that isn't designed.
Because we are talking about the universe, but
right. I'm talking about the universe. There's nothing in that universe that's not designed. So it raises the question: what would be a universe that doesn't have a design component to it? It doesn't have intelligence. What like a next possible, or not would be the next possible world, but some possible world over, right? The next possible world only has like one fact that's different, but some far distant possible world has all these facts that are completely different. That intelligence does not exist in that universe. There's no life in that universe whatsoever. How is that universe any different than ours?
Well, it's impossible.
Physically.
Because that is impossible. That is logically impossible because intelligence is being used for existence.
There's nothing illogical about that.
You cannot have existence without intelligence. That's impossible.
Why?
Because that's how intelligence. That's why I show you the definition of intelligence that I discovered said that intelligence is always.
You're making an assumption that doesn't need to be made.
This from my experiment.
So we'll get to the experiment hopefully soon. I don't want this to go too much longer. I like my audience to retain what gray matter they have left. But because they're probably high as shit right now, dude. But if you're saying that life had to exist, there had to be some kind of intelligence to exist at all times for there even to be a universe. You're literally saying that there cannot exist a universe without intelligence in it. And that doesn't logically follow, though.
Because intelligence always used for existence. So if we have existence, then it follows that there is an intelligence.
Well, it doesn't follow, though. There's no logical entailment there.
Well, which one first? The universe or intelligence?
I would argue that the universe came first, and then out of that universe, several billion years later, the only indications of intelligence we have are us and other species that are similar, right? Animals. But the only intelligence we've ever seen is on Earth. We've never seen any intelligence anywhere else other than Earth.
That's the reason why we must discover what is the real intelligence. Because the question I've given you is which one is first, intention or non? Which one? Okay, I will change the word, not intelligence, or I will use intentional. Which one come first, intentional or the universe?
Well, intentionality is predicated upon some kind of an agent, right? You cannot have a rock has no intentional states, right? We have intentional states. We're intentional agents. Like the word belief is an intentional verb. It means to believe. Something has to be believing, right? To like, to hate, to love. These are all intentional verbs because something has to be doing it, right? A rock cannot love something. It does not have that intentional state. So we as intelligent agents, we have the ability to have these intentionalities. So we can say, I love this. I hate this. I believe this. I like this. I want this. These are all things that the agent has to be doing, right? You cannot have any of those verbs without having some kind of agent. So when we're talking about these intentional states, we're talking about something that has the ability to have consciousness, to have reason, because without that, you cannot have intentional states.
Correct.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm correct on that, yeah.
That's why when you use the word consciousness, meaning consciousness always use intelligence. Yeah. And consciousness, that's why an intelligence always produce existence, because non-intelligent or stupid person cannot produce any in existence. So in other words, intelligence always make existence. That's why if we have a universe, then before the universe exists, there must first be an intelligence.
Well, again, that's your argument. That's just something that does not logically entail, though. I want to address this real quick because this is a very common error that I see creationists make. This is actually a well-known quote mine, and I'm surprised you have it in there. I don't recognize this being in your prior things. And so you had said when Charles Darwin had explained the origin of eyes in his famous book on Origin of Species, which, by the way, I actually did read in high school. Didn't say that I understood it. It's very, very complicated, but I tried to muddle through it. He claimed that a longer period of time, millions of years, had changed to a simple, unperfected eye to a complex, perfect eye. No, he didn't claim perfection because the eye is not perfect, giving science a new way to categorize two opposite scenarios. Now, the problem I have with this is that in his book, he actually points out how the eye is iterated, right? Has its iterations, and we know now we have a much better understanding of biology how. It started with blind spots, and then the blind starts having concavity, and then the concavity started having, more surface area. Then you had lens that was a skin that was, and you had these things that kept building up, making these things more selected for based upon environmental pressures. So we know how the eye came about. We can see from this species to this species to this species how it got better and better, even though the eye is extremely imperfect. I mean, it is not a perfect apparatus by any stretch of imagination. It had to work with prior iterations. Evolution cannot create something without priors, right? So wait one sec. But in his book, he explains how it's done.
Wait. Before somebody could explain perfect to non-perfect, somebody must define the differentiation between the two.
Well, okay, and I'm fine. For example, I don't.
Wait.
Okay, go ahead.
What is the criteria if you say that this one is perfect to non-perfect?
Right.
Anybody could claim. For example, I claim that I am perfect. You are perfect.
But that's a subjective. I think perfection only exists in certain things that in conceptual. Like, for example, I can say this is a perfect triangle if all sides are equal and each side of the triangle, for example, has a 60 degree, 60 degree, 60 degree, or something like that. If you have a perfect 180 triangle with all sides being equal for an equilateral triangle, that's perfection. Now, do I think that exists in reality? No. And that's, things that people talk about whether triangles exist. Well, I think that we have a representative of a triangle, but I don't think a true perfect triangle can exist. Matter of fact, it is kind of given in philosophy that perfect things do not exist as far as like a triangle, because if it did, it couldn't exist because of the reality itself. It's just because there's physical limitations for it. And so we have an archetype of it. We have this physical platonic realm that might exist somewhere where there's this perfect triangle, but it is not in our realm, right? So again, when we're talking about perfection, the eye is extremely poor for what it does, but it works for us, and we can use it.
That's why, Steve. Before a scientist or a person say it is a poor design and a bad design, somebody must first differentiate the two, because anybody could claim
it could be designed better, don't you think?
Yeah, that's
we have an optic nerve that's right in the center. We have a blind spot. That blind spot could be hazardous to somebody in the wild. That's not a great design to have something that could be in a blind. People get in car accidents all the time because of their quote blind spot in a car. But we have something very similar, analogous to where we cannot see certain things in our blind spot. That's not advantageous.
No, the reason why that's my science. That's the reason why I am doing this thing, because I am asking our scientists today. But before you say this one is designed poorly or bad design or good design, you must have first a differentiation, a universal boundary line between the bad and good.
Yeah, well, bad design is where You obviously know about, you looked into things like that, the pharyngeal nerve, and right, that's a bad design because it goes all the way up and down like in the giraffe. If you look into that argument, it's badly designed because it goes all the way back when it only needs like that much space, but it goes all the way down, all the way back, because that's how evolution evolved. That it evolved to have those that in it, right? It dissolved that length to it. It couldn't be no other way because it was just how evolution chose over a period of time through natural selection. And so it could have been a lot better. It could, if there was somebody actually designed it, they were like, oh, we don't want to do it this way. We're going to make it very, a much shorter distance on the pharyngeal nerve. But it wasn't designed that way. Why?
I will repeat again. Mm-hmm. Before any person or any scientist will claim a bad or good design, we must have first a dividing line between the two. Because it is impossible that you are going to make your own criteria, and I have my own criteria. You must have a universal criteria that is applicable to all. You cannot claim. Like me, I cannot claim that this design intelligently or non-intelligently. If I don't know about intelligence, I cannot claim that this one is poor and bad if I don't have this criteria. That's why in science, before we claim something, we must have this kind of a ruler that this one is poor design, this is a bad design, this is the standard, this is the universal. We need to apply it. Somebody must discover that. And that's what he did.
Okay, so here you say, how will you call and handle this situation when you hire a taxi to bring you to a certain location? It's called Uber now, by the way. But the taxi drivers asked you for direction. Yeah, I know they still have taxis. And you say, right corner, please. And the driver went to left direction. And when you say left corner, please, the driver went to right corner. You will certainly be surprised. You will probably ask the driver if there's a language barrier or the driver is totally deaf. But when the driver told you that the right direction and left direction is the same, no categorization at all, you'll certainly call that driver stupid. I don't think that necessarily follows. I don't know the argument you're making here because a right direction and left direction is contingent upon which way you're facing, right? And so he would be right to say a right direction, left direction would be the same thing depending on your direction. But of course, you're important in how you want to go, right? And maybe he's facing away from you. I don't know, but I don't know why you would just say he's stupid. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, the reason why I use that analogy, because there are many people who are claiming that this is a poor design, this is a bad design. Mm-hmm. When I ask them, what is your criteria? Can you give me the universal?
Yeah, if you can make the design better, then there's an argument to be had that may have been poor design. If you can improve upon a design, it was either. Well, I wouldn't say it necessarily means it's poorly designed, right? But I would say that it's definitely something that would be indicative of a poor design. If you can improve upon it, then it's indicative of what you would expect for a poor design. It doesn't mean it's sufficient, but is necessary, I would say. Because if I can improve upon a design, hey, look, there were some issues in that design. It was not perfected. Doesn't necessarily mean it was bad, because bad is subjective, but it means it could have been better.
That is why that is my call. That is my challenge to all scientists that are listening right now. If they have a different kind of universal boundary line between intelligence or non-intelligence, between good or bad, between stupid to non-stupid, between smart to non-smart, and we could a universal like what I have discovered, and apply that in biology. Because we cannot simply claim that Tucson is a bad or good design if we don't have this kind of universal boundary line between the two, because it is impossible. We are making religion. We are making fantasy. We are creating our own reality. You cannot simply.
Well, it's called science, but I'm gonna skip some of this because it's a little repetitive.
Okay.
But I want to get to some of these core parts before we wrap this up, because I do like to keep these under 2 hours. And I know I started late, so. But one of the most bizarre and controversial conclusions from Charles Darwin and supporters of the theory of evolution was that the change in all species or living organisms is unintentional, uncontrolled, non-intelligent, and unguided, which means the actual scientific definition of biological evolution would always be biological evolution or evolution is unguided or unintentional, intelligent, non-determined, or unregulated biological change in the frequency allele of a gene variant in a population over time, which, by the way, it doesn't follow. I mean, again, I agree it wouldn't be there's no intelligence required because it's teleonomic, but it is guided by nature, right? Natural selection is deterministic.
Well, the reason why...
It's not random.
No, because you remember, Steve, that an intelligent agent has an exclusivity. Non-intelligence also has an exclusivity. For example, an intelligent person always, for example, okay, generally speaking, an intelligent agent or person or worker always does a good job.
Mm-hmm.
But a non-intelligent worker always does a bad job, right? So how can you claim that a natural selection which are using non-intelligence are doing a good job?
Because it has to do with selective pressures.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so all natural selection is,
okay,
Edgar, all natural selection is, if you want to distill it down, is just what's called differential reproduction. What lives, what dies. That's the simplest way to understand natural selection. What is living, what is dying based upon some kind of selective pressure given an environment. What is being selected for? This particular organism has certain phenotypic characteristics based upon its genotype. It's based on its genes that is more designed it to be through nature to be adaptive to that environment. So it's going to be selected for. It's more likely to live and procreate. And if it has some kind of defect that is with respect to the environment, some kind of thing that's detrimental, right? It's not going to be selected for. So fish, let's say fish are reproducing, and certain fish have this in their now has this gene in them that's being promulgated through the population that allows them to swim faster, just a little bit faster. Well, those that swim faster are going to escape predators. That's going to be selected for because those fish are going to be overall more likely to reproduce. That particular trait to swim faster is being selected for. It doesn't require intelligence to do that. It's the fact that just they're not dying because they're not being caught by predators.
Wait again, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the reason why we have to know the two between non-intelligence chains and intelligence chain, because if you are going to use intelligent chains, you will always expect that living organisms will going to strive, we're going to fight to live.
Mm-hmm.
If you are going to use
non-intelligent... no, I get that. They're going to strive to live, but unfortunately, if you're a slow swimmer, you're more likely to get eaten by a faster one. Right?
That's why I said there is no natural selection, because natural selection never is intelligence.
But that is natural selection. That's just nature saying, hey, these can swim faster. They're going to outrun their predators better.
No, because natural selection doesn't use intelligence. You cannot have a good life without intelligence. It is impossible.
You don't need intelligence, Edgar. You don't need intelligence for a fish to swim faster to get away from its predators faster. There's no intelligence involved there. It's just a fact that it's swimming faster.
I told you, intelligence is always used to exist, to survive, and to succeed.
I'm way too sober for this,
guys.
This is the definition of
intelligence. This definition tells us that if you don't have intelligence, you cannot survive.
You got anything to drink?
You cannot succeed here in biological world. How can you violate this? That's the reason why before you explain reality.
Because it doesn't need it for natural selection. It's just the fact that it's just a phenotype that's being selected for because it's more conducive to the environment under that selective pressure.
So are you saying that natural selection is intelligent?
No.
So therefore,
it doesn't need intelligence to do that. It just needs the fact that it swims faster.
Because intelligence is, Steve, intelligence is exclusive for good, for success, for survival.
Well,
We
no,
know that
those fish can be instinctual only. They just know how to swim. They don't have to be super intelligent, and they just swim faster.
so. That's why, in other words, there is
I'm
no
gonna
satisfaction
I'm gonna
in biology.
I'm gonna scroll down here because most of the
Okay.
stuff is just I don't really want to bother with. I do want to real quick touch on your experiment before we wrap this up. You got, by the way, the link. If should you guys want to read this on your own accord and time, be my guest. Bring alcohol. You get the link is in the video description. But oh my goodness, so I don't even know where to go with this. So you talk about universal limits and ranges. Again, this could be like we could spend 10 hours on this. It's just, but you're like for the non-intentional non-intelligence, your probability is between 0 and 1. By the way, I don't know why it's greater than. Why isn't it equal? You can have a probability of 0 and a probability of 1 natural. Why is P in the range of 0 and 1 but not equal to? I mean, it should be P is somewhere between 0 and 1, but it can be equal to 0 and 1. So shouldn't it be less than or equal to?
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, thank you
Yeah,
for
at least there I would this that's something I would definitely change because that should be less than or equal to,
Okay.
and then less than or equal to 1. But
Okay.
you have for the non-intelligible, you have between 1 and 1.5 probability
Yes,
using instinct.
yes.
But what would greater than a 1 probability mean?
Good question. That's a good question.
I ask good questions. That's what I want to do on this show.
Because
I try to at least.
Okay, because if you are going to look at biological world, for example, a orangutan or a chimpanzee or a crow, some monkey, for example, they are using a stick. They are using a stick to get food, to eat food, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They are using tools, something like that. So the question in biology is that intelligence or instinct? Okay.
Well, I think it's a combination, a little bit of both. Most of it's instinctual, but I do think that animals have some degree of intelligence. Yeah, I think birds can exhibit intelligence. I think and all kinds of primates can exhibit intelligence. I don't think fish can exhibit intelligence, but I mean octopus can exhibit intelligence.
Yeah, the reason why before we can answer that, we must first define what is intelligence, the difference between the intelligence to instinct, intelligence to non-intelligence. And we need to have a dividing line between the two so that we could explain biology in the right way. That's the reason why in my initial universal limit, this is initial. Maybe I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm wrong here. But
maybe
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But this one is the reason why I think this is correct, because we never use this in reality. It works.
Well, you see here probability, which always has a 99 probability of failures and 1 success. That doesn't fly. I mean, you can have something that is always the case every single time, right? You can have 100 trials and get 100 of it being the case. I could flip a coin. In theory, you could land tails 100 times. Or in quantum mechanics, if you know the spin of one entangled particle, you know the certainty of the other particle having the opposite spin every single time, 100% of the case. There is no failure on that.
Yeah, that's why I call it that. Because in non-intentional too, there's also success. I never said there's no success.
But you say right here, probability, which has always 99 probability of failures and 1 success in natural probability. No, probability could be anywhere between 0 up to 1.
Yeah, that's why 99 is an error. It's not success, because the probability of a natural probability has always 100%.
Is always 100%? No, it could be 0%.
That's not success. In my I mean the range is.
If you have 2 entangled particles, and you measure one spin up, there's no possibility the other one is spin up. It's 0%. It's always going to be 180 degrees opposite. Correct?
Okay.
So it's going to be spin down. So that's a fundamental rule and law in quantum mechanics for 2 entangled particles, that they're going to have the opposite spins. This is why when you know one, you know the spin of the other.
Okay.
Spooky at a distance. Action at a distance. So there is 0 probability there. You can do that experiment a billion times, and a billion times, if you know the spin of one, you're going to know the spin of the other. It's going to be 180 degrees every single time. There is no failure on that. It's 0% chance. And by the way, you always have that reciprocal, right? For 100% fail, like for 100% failure rate is 0% success rate. There's always that relationship, right? And vice versa. If you have 100% success rate, you have 0 failure rate. And so when you're dealing with failure rates, it's something called Six Sigma methodology that talks about how many millions of units you have. Let's say you have 3-something million units. There's going to be one defect per 3-point-something million units. That's 6 standard deviations of success, right? So there's always saying that if you have this many trials, you're going to have this many possible successes and failures. But in certain things like quantum mechanics, that doesn't apply. You're going to have 100% success every single time because that's how nature works. That wasn't designed to do that. That's just how nature works.
I agree that in my case, I call that non-intelligent success because also intelligence also has success. In my book, I differentiate the two.
So when I flip a coin in his head, Edgar, is that intelligence that made it go heads?
One more, please.
If I flip a coin and it lands heads on the table, was there an intelligence acting upon that coin?
No, it's just a non-intelligence.
But the coin was designed by an intelligent agent, clearly. The physics was designed by an intelligent agent, according to you.
Yeah.
So when I flip the coin, there's no God up there. God's not saying, "Hey, I want this to land heads," and making it turn heads. He's just letting it do its thing, right?
Yeah, I told you also that God also created, also designed non-intelligence. In other words, He designed both. He designed intelligence or non-intelligence. He maybe you have your thinking that God only designed intelligence. No, He also designed intelligence and non-intelligence both. He designed God. He designed good and evil.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're going to have a whole different discussion on good and evil. I'd like to do theodicies and have that topic of good. I will actually on my channel have probably a discussion on good and evil coming up. There's a couple other things I want to talk about first, and that's if you guys want to follow me on the other channel, the Steve McRae channel. Somebody can link it there in the live chat. I don't have any mods out there. They're all busy tonight. My mod's she going out tonight. She going party tonight. She going down to watch a drag show. I'm a little envious. She all dolled up too. But now I don't have a mod for the night. You look good. No, seriously.
Thank you.
Yes. You want people to see you? No. She all dolled up and she's like, I don't want anybody to see. What woman does that? What woman gets all prettied up and says, I don't want anybody to look at me? Yeah, everybody should be looking at you right now. She is shy, but have fun tonight. All right. So let's get into your experiment real quick because the methodology and derivation. You say the first initial derivation of the UCP IBL that I had written above had been already conducted with a simple egg and tissue experiment, and people know your egg experiment. They call it the Edgar experiment. The Edgar experiment. It is fully explained and detailed in one of my science books titled The New Intelligent Design, Turning the Scientific World Upside Down, which not quite has happened yet. It's published by Amazon as an ebook. I know you had one sale on this because I know Red Eye bought this book. I think there was I'm pretty sure this was the book that he bought. I know he bought some other ones. And so you have an experiment here where you have a sheet of tissue paper and you drop an egg through it. And if it falls to the ground, you consider the experiment failed. Although I don't know what you're trying to prove intelligence, but I don't know the hypothesis. I don't know your parameters. I've never understood this experiment. But you're trying to say that you have 8 sheets that you required for that egg to not fall through, right?
Yes. Okay,
so how is that an experiment? What's the experiment here? And I don't get it.
Okay, I'm trying to. I was trying to understand and discover and fully understand intelligence on that time. So because intelligence is non-tangible, we cannot touch it. Okay, we cannot touch it. Intangible. So intelligence is a concept. So the best way for a concept to be tested, I'm not testing the strength of the tissue paper or the egg. I'm testing a concept, an idea, a method.
Right.
So the best way to use an experiment for a method is to use an event. like what, what, in other words, I drop, many events. I think I have eight events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 8 sheets. Your first event, you had 1 sheet. You drop an egg and it fell through, right?
2, 4, 6,
and
8.
And what's what's the strength of this particular? Is this bounty?
I don't know.
Okay.
I
mean, when you do an experiment, you got to factor in a lot of things like strength of the material and things of that nature. But we'll go with that. So go ahead.
So after that, I'm trying to figure out which one is intelligence on the event, which one is non-intelligence on the event, because I really don't know what is intelligence. So I have to figure it out. I have to finalize which one is intelligence, which one is non-intelligence on the event. So because I have I think 8 tries. I don't know. I forget already.
No, but if you're going to do this experiment again, whenever I've never done an experiment paper. Okay, the paper I wrote that was for philosophy. There's no experimental things. It's not empiricism. Yeah. But I understand when you have an experiment, you have a methods section, and in the methods section, you tell people exactly what you did to do the experiment and how to recreate it, and you have a data sheet, you have a data facts, right?
Yeah,
So it's just odd to me that you have like these sheets. You don't tell what sheet it is, what brand it is, what's the tensile strength of the tissue paper, because the tensile strength of a tissue paper is extremely important if you want to know if it's going to hold up or not. That literally is probably the most defining characteristic of a tissue is the tensile strength.
No, wait, Steve. This is the reason why I think I am testing a concept, an idea, a principle. I am not testing the strength.
Okay, so it doesn't. So yeah, no, I get that. No, I understand you're not testing. I'm not specifically testing the tensile strength. I get that. But let's say so it doesn't matter if somebody uses stronger tissue paper and they get 10 sheets. It doesn't matter. You're just showing something that doesn't need to be experimented, that as you start adding more material, there's less chance for that egg to fall through. You don't need an experiment to do that.
Correct.
Because it just makes sense, right? We all kind of think that, yes, if I put a sheet of metal over the top of that, right, that egg is not going to fall through, correct?
Correct.
But that's intelligence to you, right?
So this is the question. In other words, in my experiment, I was trying to understand between a failure and a success and a problem and a solution. I was trying to, which one is a problem, which one is a solution, how many solutions do we need for an intelligence, how many solutions do we need for non-intelligence.
Right, but the solutions would. I don't know what the problem you're trying to overcome here is, except that you're saying I don't want the egg to fall through. Well, here's how to solve the problem. Don't drop the egg.
No, I am testing.
Here's the point.
I am experimenting a concept that is called intelligence.
Right, but here's my intelligence. Don't drop the egg. Make it into an omelet.
But no, that's how I discover it. Because that's the reason why. That's the reason why I think.
How many people would want to waste an egg like this, whether you can eat it? And by the way, this was a raw egg too, right?
Yeah, raw egg.
Yeah, raw egg. Yeah.
It's a raw egg. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm confused too. All right.
Yeah. Again, I am testing a concept.
No, I get that. And look, you haven't got a box, and I understand that. And you drop it through 2 sheets, and it still breaks. How many eggs did you go through for this initial experiment, by the way?
Just in 1 egg.
1 egg. Well, no. The first time you dropped it through 1 sheet, it had a break, didn't it?
No. Somebody must catch up.
Oh, you have somebody catching it.
Yeah. You are going to use another egg. You cannot use that. You have to use the same egg. Oh. Somebody must catch up.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that. Your wife or something was catching the egg, right?
My son.
My son. Okay, your son. Okay, I remember somebody was catching the egg. Yes,
somebody must catch the egg so that I can use again for another try. I used 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, something like that.
I just want to make this very clear. His family encourages him for this. Okay. All right. So, so by the way, did you ever eat that egg, or is it like enshrined in case you get famous? The egg, the holy egg of Edgar.
No.
You're gonna gold plated.
No, actually.
Enshrined? No. So you ate the egg.
We,
You ate
we
the
eat that.
only egg. You ate the evidence that your experiment no longer is valid because you ate the only egg that can demonstrate intelligence.
Well,
Please tell me you ate the egg. Did you eat the egg?
we eat the egg, yeah, of course.
Okay.
I like to eat a raw egg with the Japanese food.
Oh no! Don't eat raw eggs, dude. You ever heard of salmonella? No, you don't eat raw eggs. That's bad for you.
We eat a raw egg with we call it gyudon.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. All right, raw eggs are not good for you. All right, so you go through here, and again, you go through all this experimental stuff. I'm not going to go into this because we're running out of time. You talk about triangles and all kinds of stuff. So give you guys an idea what's in there. Now, I want you guys to go check this out when you guys get a chance, because it's just too much to kind of dive more into than we've already at. But there was one other thing in here that I wanted to kind of ask about. You talk about good worker. You've already talked about that. By the way, this is 40 pages, guys. 40 pages. Let's see here. Birds. DNA. Ugh. Here we go. The interrelation theory. Living organism, common interrelated or originator, nature, universe. Is this supposed to represent the Trinity?
Well, if the topic of the universe, yes.
Okay.
The candidate.
I thought
my
so.
candidate.
Okay.
Yeah, my candidate.
All right. So there's the triune nature of things, and this biological interrelations. There's triunity. I made that word up, I think. I don't think there's a word called triunity, but the triune nature.
No. In biological interrelation, it is an explanation, a replacement for biological evolution. Okay, so I falsified biological evolution, so I had to replace it.
Yeah, I don't think you did, but we'll go with that.
I did.
Look at all these ebooks you have. Here we go. You talk about asymmetrical particle wave in here. We've already gone over. Yeah, I love this. Image of a house built on sand. How can science categorize two designers, smart to dumb, intelligent to non-intelligent? Functionality is a big picture. When we're designing a home, we want it to have certain properties, to have the ability to shelter, to keep warm. Again, there's something, I don't know if you ever heard of what's called essentialism or functionalism. Essentialism says that these things that have this property makes it a house. It's essential to have these properties. Functionalism is that anything that functions as a house is a house, right? So if you have a cardboard box, but it functions as shelter, it could be construed as a house. It's whatever, it's functional. Now, I don't adhere to functionalism. I think functionalism has major issues. But in engineering, but in essentialism, something that gives you shelter, it's your home, it's your house, right? I mean, people will say all the time when you're living on the street, makeshift shelter of cardboard box is your home, and I get that, right? But I don't understand what's smart to dumb is only how it is used in order to perform its function. If you design a house with no entry, yeah, that's dumb because you can't get in. It doesn't perform its function, right? What it's intended to do. So it doesn't need science to do that. You need what I would say common sense, right? You don't build a house with no doors. Right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, let's get some questions and answers in here. By the way, you do wrap it up. Jesus Christ is the intelligent designer, right? Now,
yes.
What would happen if you found out if Jesus Christ wasn't the Messiah? How would this change this particular theory?
Well,
let's say you found out that Jesus Christ existed, but he was some rabbinical rabbi, but he was not related to any God whatsoever. He was just a man. How would that change this particular theory of yours?
Well, I never think about that. I never thought about that. So
you got to have a null, right? I mean, you got to be able to say what if. I mean, that's the whole point of doing science, right? You got to be able to hypothesize these other things. So how can you hypothesize what the world would be like if there was no creator, no divinity, that Jesus was who he was, it said he was? How would that change things? Because again, as science, you have to be able to posit these types of hypotheses, would you not? Not really, but we're going to go with it. Philosophy, you definitely would.
Then my candidate is probably wrong, because Jesus Christ is my candidate as an intelligent agent for the existence of the universe. my candidate. You can use your own candidate. Like for example, like for example, spaghetti,
Flying spaghetti monster.
flying spaghetti monster. You can use that too. But in my case, since I discovered intelligence,
Well,
intelligence predicts.
I don't think anybody advocates that the flying spaghetti monster is a real entity, right? It's supposed to be a parody. Now, there might be people that, I don't know, that actually, there's some really strange people out there. But for the most part, Pastafarians recognize there is no such being called the flying spaghetti monster. It's representative of a concept that's supposed to be a parody of some kind of God, right? You do get that, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
But maybe in 200 years, maybe people are going to believe that is true.
Sure. No. Hey, look, I look doubtful, but people will have all kinds of strange beliefs. I mean, doing this for 8 years on YouTube, I've met all kinds. I met people that have the most bizarre beliefs you can possibly imagine. And by the way, this right here is probably even the worst of the worst. So it's up there. Don't get me wrong. I'm sorry, it's not great, but I mean, there are people out there that have very dangerous ideas. This I find to be harmless. This is why we're able to talk about this and make some joviality of it and have jovial aspects of it and be kind of lighthearted, because this doesn't really affect anybody. There are dangerous ideas out there, and those things are completely non-innocuous. And I think that those things are the ones that we need to have more of a stronger approach on. But this show goes all over the place. We have light shows, we have fun shows. The next couple shows, maybe not so much. I do want to do a show on pronouns, by the way, Edgar. And by the way, I did a vote on the community tab for the Non-Sequitur Show. 409 people responded on how many times people change their pronouns. And overwhelmingly, it was like 95% has never changed their pronouns. A handful said one. But I was surprised that a significant portion, I think it was like 3% or 4%, said more than three times or more, which is really surprising. But that's a topic that's bound to be controversial. Now, again, do I think it has any kind of like real world consequences? Not so much. I mean, climate change does. Gun violence does. Abortion does. These have real world effects. But your theory, maybe not so much. But anyways, Edgar, I don't think anybody has any real questions out there, probably because they're still processing that. Their minds are blown, right? The audience out there is going, whoa. They're probably again, high as hell. But would you like to leave them with any parting information of wisdom? And again, the link is in the video description if they want to go check this out for themselves. Go with God. But what do you want to leave them with?
Well, okay. I will repeat again that I discovered the definition, the differences, the limits between intelligence to non-intelligence. And they're synonyms. Okay? And when I use that in physics and biology and psychology and manufacturing and school and everything that affects our lives, it works. It works. And when I use that in biology, I can falsify, and I already falsified the theory of evolution, and I can replace it. Actually, today, I submitted my article in 4 science journal to back up my article.
It has not been approved, correct?
Yes, the 3 are. I get an email that they said I didn't want to approve. I don't care about that. But what I care that this is what I've found. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm wrong or maybe I'm right. If I am right, and I think I have a 99% or 95% that I think I am right. Mm-hmm. The 5% maybe the way I speak, the way I explain is probably an error. But my discovery probably is correct. Because we never, especially in the article that I've shown today, if you use that in real life, it works. If it doesn't work, it is useless.
Yeah. So the problem I have with that, though, Edgar, is that I'm gonna give you a 99.99% that is not the case. Only because there's 0.01% because it's so incoherent that maybe I'm just not at your intellectual genius level. Because it's unintelligible to me, and anybody that had read it, it's unintelligible to them. They're not understanding it. I don't think there's anything to understand. And that seems to be a problem. If you're going to write something like this, right? If you're not conveying it in a way where people are going to understand and not distilling it down, you're not accomplishing anything. But look, and people tell me the same thing with my writing. Say, Steve, you're writing at so high a level here that they're not going to be understanding, which, by the way, isn't that high a level. Again, everything I write is undergrad level. Nothing's graduate. So it's just that, people that do understand these topics, it's pretty simplistic to them. But the ones that don't understand the topics, they'll be like, yeah, we don't quite grasp this, right? Okay, I will then, write a more simplified version, right?
Okay, so.
But do you have a simplified version of this somewhere that you might be thinking of doing?
I think this one is the most simplified because the topic is intelligent. This is the most
simplified it gets. Okay, I tried, guys. I tried. This is the most simplified it gets.
Steve, we have 70 definitions of intelligence right now. Do you know that?
A definition just describes something. A definition is not prescriptive.
In other words, since we have a 70 definition of intelligence, in other words, from 2,000 years, maybe 2,000 years ago, we didn't know about it until now. We didn't know about intelligence. We missed it. That's why, maybe I'm wrong, but that's why I'm asking all scientists in the world, maybe all of us, all of you, to nail down, to research, to clarify what is intelligence or non-intelligence and solve this problem.
All right.
And so, for example, please give me the answer for this.
I will. Okay, put that up. Move it over so people can read the whole question. And then put it in front of you. Put it directly in front of you.
Okay.
There we go. I like it. Is biological cell intelligent designed or non-intelligent designed?
This is the problem. This is the problem that I am trying to solve.
All right, guys, help Edgar solve this problem. Maybe you can give him a one-word, a simple answer to that question. But right now, my audience is out of edibles and out of rum, and I don't think we can continue without that. Mine are right here, and I'm telling you, they do help me sleep. I do them very, very infrequently. These aren't even mine. Well, we share, but I mean, I take half an edible and I'm gone. I'm such a lightweight. I don't know how these people smoke like 100 milligrams of this stuff. I don't smoke. I haven't smoked even a cigarette in 6.5 years or something. But I don't understand how these people can survive functional when they take 100 milligrams or 500 milligrams of THC. I'm like, are you insane? I take 10. I'm like, ew, I don't even like this. But anyways, Edgar, thank you for joining us again. I'm going to wrap it up. If people want to reach out to you,
Steve, do you want me to explain next time the how I'll falsify evolution?
Oh dear God! Please tell me it won't be a next time.
Oh, okay, no problem.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, the origin of COVID-19.
Oh no, let's not go there. I like to keep my channel because I don't even want to go there. But I mean, I'm happy to have controversial stuff, but there's certain things on YouTube that are just they will not let you talk about, and that's one of them. It gets to be really, 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 really dangerous to do so. I'm going to be talking about more things like controversial stuff, obviously. I mean, and obviously not controversial. Like I have a debate coming up with our hot dog as a sandwich. Why not? But I have a friend who is a pretty well respected doctor. She's going to be coming on to talk about trans athletes. We have a show on pronouns. We have gun control. We have a few more controversial stuff, and that's fine because that's what I want this channel to be. I want it to be about controversial topics instead of shutting down the dialogue, because most of the time people just want to shut down a conversation like this right here. Why shut this conversation down? It's fun to talk about, even though I don't agree with you, and it's just inconceivable to me and just incomprehensible. But you know what? It's fun, and so I thank you for that, Edgar. Okay, and you're a good guy, man. You're a good guy.
Thank you. You too, Steve. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you to all.
I'm going to end the Skype call so I can wrap this up, okay? All right, buddy? All right.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know how to do this. Okay, wait a sec here. I know. I'm so confused here. There we go. All right. There it goes. All right, guys. So I'm going to wrap this up. Please let me know what you guys thought of this. And by the way, be nice to Edgar, okay? Edgar's a cool dude. Granted, we all agree that it's just as nonsensical and it's never going to go anywhere. But, be constructive as you possibly can be. I'm not really interested in people demeaning guests. I don't allow it for people to troll myself or other people. So, at least have something semi-constructive to say. Look, you can say he's out to lunch. I'm totally cool with that. Don't think that you can't do that. But I mean, just don't pull any kind of racist or anything like that BS. I hate that crap. Hot dog is not a sandwich. I said it. There are gonna be people fighting you on that, Twitch. They're gonna be fighting you. I've got my own position on that, but I'm saving it for the show, whether hot dog's a sandwich or not. But like I said, let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you guys watching. And
I don't know that.
Oh, I wasn't talking to you. Hey, one last thing. Hey, Alexa, what's the definition of atheism?
Atheism is usually defined as the doctrinal belief that there is no God. For more, ask.
Thank you, Alexa. Stop.
For atheism.
Good night.